Welcome, Corey.
Welcome, Chris. And welcome all of you to the show, everybody. Very excited for tonight's show. A lot of awesome things and some chats populated. If you didn't see it in the in the title, this very well may end up becoming a two-part.
Yeah, we're talking about it.
We'll see.
First off, before we get started, because our fans are always seeing glitches, and they're always we've had some studio changes, things like that, software changes, all kinds of stuff. Are we sounding okay? Can we get a thumbs up? Somebody in the chat posted up there saying you guys sound great, look great.
Yep.
Even though I know we look great.
We sounding tonight.
There you go. We'll see what they say.
All righty. Before we go any further,
we'll wait for some responses. If not, we're just talking to each other.
Yeah, well, we do that a lot. What are you going to do?
Yeah, well,
Okay. Well.
Nobody's complaining, so why don't we just push forward?
Looks great, looks and great sound too. Okay, awesome. We are good. Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm Corey Pratt.
I'm Chris Ruck.
And this is Craving Cars.
That's right. So welcome to the show.
Yes, quick just introduction. We just did it. That's how quick it was. And a thank you, of course, to people who help support and make this thing. Besides, all you viewers are very supportive. By watching alone, liking this video, and sharing it to other people, that is a huge help. But we have other people to help. One, the place that we're currently at right now in the studios is we have Auto Beauty Center Studios here.
That's right.
That we have the space for.
Yeah, we appreciate Brett letting us camp here and build our studio. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But we got some other ones. One coming up. We got Flaney's Drag Strip. We got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
What's going on next week?
Lots of stuff going on. Lots of noise on social media around Flying. We'll talk about it a little bit.
Flying Ace is just
as best we can.
It's just the biggest happening thing right now.
It is. Everybody wants it.
It's so new. It's so awesome. But anyways, We Are Warriors Apparel.
Jason. Excited. I think he was going to be at IFO.
I took a break.
Too, by the way.
Oh, no.
So,
well, we can talk about that if you want.
Well, we'll see where he's at.
We'll
maybe he'll meet us in the Ozarks, which we'll talk about.
If you're into the wines, the spirits, the drinks, the mixed stuff, the beers, or whatever it is, and you want to go to a place that they just, if you want to ask questions, they don't just go, we might have something on aisle 3.
Yeah.
And you want some real true knowledge, Uncorked Wine and Spirits. It's a fantastic store, and it's run by people who've been in the industry a very long time.
Yeah.
So
Dave Doan and his whole crew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They do a great job. Okay. Richland Motorsports.
JD.
And we have timely delivery service. Hey, Big T, you in the house tonight?
Big T. Hopefully he's in the house. Now. If not, you might have been wearing
He'll watch it. He might watch it later.
He might watch it later.
I don't know. Maybe it's bedtime. I don't know.
Time of delivery service for sure.
And there we go. That's kind of where we're at. If you're interested in any kind of sponsorship for the channel.
How come I felt like we left somebody out?
Well, we got cartoons.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's me. I don't care.
I know.
Oh, and of course, Barn Find Fabricators, which is now 816-913 Car Shows.
It's our BFF.
That's right. Will's obviously, he's online. He always joins us.
Hey, Will, you're awesome supporter, of course, of the channel.
That's right.
And then, of course, you can also go to Will's Wheels on YouTube yourself and watch his stuff.
And our good friend that's not even around here locally, Vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always doing a good job joining us.
It's awesome. But
so much to go through. Let's just jump into this.
CravingCarsLive.com.
Yep.
check us out. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to this channel right here. All that's links, of course, is on cravingcarslive.com as well. And if you're interested in kind of sponsorship stuff, I want to work any kind of deals or anything, something like that.
There you go.
We're sending some free cool crap. All the information is on there, and sponsorship stuff, and click and blah, 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 and like and share. And when you subscribe, hit the bell icon.
There you go.
Blah, blah, blah,
all that
blah,
stuff. But because we're live.
We are live today.
There you go.
So I can't edit any of that crap out I just said.
There you go.
It's just part of it. It's what it is. However, with that said, what's going on?
We got a busy schedule.
A quick reminder: last week we were on. We missed the show last week. Sorry about that, but there was a family emergency, so it's fine. It's okay. But we were still on a podcast.
Yep.
So we didn't skip a week for podcast technically.
So,
Drive, drag, repeat.
That's right.
Check those guys out on YouTube. They're obviously, it's in the name. They're really big with drag racing. With Flying H, they reached out to us to kind of be on the show.
Yeah.
Since we've done, a small handful of stuff there already.
I think they're so
and they invited
used.
us out to kind of hang out with them.
Yeah,
on
I think
Monday.
they're used to doing shows outside of the Kansas City area, so they didn't.
Yeah, they travel.
They really knew we were invested with Flying H, so I think that's why they reached out to us to say, "Hey, give us the inside scoop of Mega Week."
Mega Week. It's coming up next week.
Yep.
I guess starting on Monday.
Yeah, which kind of overlapped another show that unfortunately had to be moved, but
It did.
IFO.
Is it going from Monday the 2nd to the 7th or something?
It
like that?
does. Yeah, so it goes to the 7th. IFO was supposed to start on the 7th.
Yes.
And that was where the hiccup was.
And
So
if you guys, IFO import face off, it's a car show race, drag race. They do. I don't know what because a lot of
They're
places
more of a-
they'll do drifting too. I don't know if they'll be able to do drifting there.
yeah, I mean
They don't
they're
have a spot for that.
definitely not so much under the drag scene. They're more of a car show with some other things going on. I don't remember
I don't
them
know.
doing too
I've
much
never,
of the.
I'll be honest, I've never been to
drag
one
racing.
that didn't have drag racing.
Well, it used to be at Heartland.
I
we
went
used
to
go
Heartland
to.
a couple times, even out in St. Louis.
Oh,
I've been out in
okay.
St. Louis. They're drag racing out in St. Louis.
Oh,
at the
okay.
track, so
Right.
and it's just what it is. The burnout
Yeah.
contests, But see,
Yeah,
those
some
two,
overlap.
between Heartland and the racetrack out there. It's changed names. I can't remember what it's called now. But the racetrack out in St. Louis area, it's they have actually areas for drifting. So I don't know if they can do that at Flying H currently.
Oh no, because all they have is a circle.
yeah,
that they do
unless
the
unless they
burnouts
do
in,
the.
but
I bet they'll still do a burnout thing there.
I don't know. They had 2
I'm sure.
cars
I'm sure
drifting.
some. I'm sure they could figure something out. But unfortunately, it's not. It's going to be rescheduled.
Yes,
so.
because what we're talking about.
If it comes back, we'll try to.
Yeah,
We'll try to attend.
but that's kind of what happened, and unfortunately, there's just
It's got scheduling conflicts.
Yeah,
It's not
just
a huge-
it's administrative stuff.
Right.
Things get overlapped,
and IFO travels throughout the country, so they're just going to have to find another opening.
yeah,
at some point.
and they will. I know Flying H will take care of them. and
It'll
put
be a
them
big
in
show for them here, especially with Flying H, their drag strip, and all that kind of happy stuff. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be able to do a show here because Topeka's not really doing much.
there. No,
When I say
for
that,
sure.
it's because I think it's closed down, isn't it? So it's gone full.
Well, for right now,
The cool thing is this Saturday we have one of the biggest events of the year
I love it.
for Craving Cars Overlanded. It's a segment that we haven't exactly tied down, but it's a segment called
Right.
Craving Cars
Right.
Overlanding because it covers overlanding, off-roading, all that kind of stuff. We're trying to dive a lot more into that things, but we have our rigs and roasts coming up at Flying. No,
Been a while.
It's not at Flying H. Maybe we should do it there.
511 tactical.
Maybe we should do a overlanding drag racing.
Well, they do have the mud track.
What do you think of that?
They have the dirt track.
So then we just got to throw some mud up.
Yeah,
We just got to prep the track differently.
yeah, that's
all.
right.
That's all
There you
right. 511 Tactical in Independence, Missouri, is now is hosting this once again. And bring your rigs out.
Yeah, and big shout out to them.
Coffee.
Yeah,
There's going to
that's
be cool discounts for people who bring their rigs out for all the 511 Tactical stuff in the products in the store. And I think they're going to give us a little bit of free stuff to hand out.
Yeah, it
So,
sounds great.
kinda
They
do
were
maybe some
excited
drawings
to
or
have
something
us
like that.
back for sure.
Yeah, they. We were trying to get it going, and it's been a weird kind of start of the year. We were like all ready, and then there was always something that. Oh,
Yeah.
not yet. Okay, now we're okay. Well, not yet. Oh,
Yeah.
All right, now. Well, now we're actually going, but they actually
Yeah.
reached out.
We're just at the start of it.
They reached out to us first
Yeah.
because we were dragging our feet on it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for all you rigs and roasters out there. But hey, it's back. It's on Saturday.
That's right.
If you're watching this right now, it's 2 days from now. If you're watching this next week, you done missed it. Where the hell were you? Hopefully at the show with your rig. Anyways, We already talked about the Flying Edge. Hey, you got something for Sunday, right? Or not just you, but you got something to talk about for Sunday.
I
do. Sunday. See, I like the fun on the spot.
Beyond the Boulevard.
Cars Beyond the Boulevard. I think it's something like that. Something like that.
Beyond the Boulevard, 4th year that they're doing it. Yep. Fundraiser, great thing going on. I think they're doing it at UMKC. So they used to do it out at the Theater by the Park or Theater on the Park out in...
I haven't made it to one, so I'm not sure.
Shawnee Mission, whatever that is out there. Yep. Anyway, they're just locking down everything, and now they found a new home. So we'll probably go out there and see what's going on and bring the van and set up and do our thing. So
I think that'd be a lot of fun. So if you guys want to get out on Sunday, provided it's a nice day.
It's supposed to be gorgeous.
You should be able to find it. I will try to put the link in the description after this show, but if not, it's on Facebook. Just look up Beyond the Boulevard. It will pop up. Cars Beyond the Boulevard, something like that.
Yep.
It'll pop up. But come hang out with us. And you know what? Come say hi. I might give you a free shirt.
There you go. What else?
Free 99.
That's right.
Well,
although again, just to make it important, just so everybody knows, you got to come out and see us Saturday, 511 Tactical. It's a big deal for us, so make sure you guys come out and join us. It
really is. We'll have some coffee for you.
Yeah, and maybe some
snacks.
Maybe some snacks.
Might win something.
Some snackies.
Well, I'll be honest. Probably not put you in the drawing if you don't bring a rig out, because that's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
But by all means, come on out. Anybody who wants to just hang out at the show, you don't even have to have a rig. Maybe you just want to check out the rigs, because a lot of people, they'll show up and they'll put their whole stuff out. They'll have their rooftop tent up.
That's right.
They'll have their awning out. They'll have all the stuff. We'll have the van there, and we'll have all that stuff out. But either way you come, guys, if there's food there, eat it. If there's coffee there, drink it.
That's right.
Period.
Yep. Just hang out and have a good time.
Bring a rig or not. Doesn't matter. Maybe you just want to hang out and have fun with us. Maybe you want a free T-shirt.
Yep. And you know what? We make it short and sweet.
We have a few left.
2 hours. So. I mean, that's all we do.
Yeah, just a quick 2 hour morning.
Yep. It gives you the rest of your day to do your thing.
That way you don't have to get up too early.
Yeah.
But when you're done, you can go on and get you discounts on 511 gear.
Were you trying to say something?
I was.
You were kind of all over the place.
It was a strategic pause.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. I got you.
Anyways, now, our last show, one of the subjects we talked about was dumbest cars. I'm talking dumbest cars, period.
Yeah.
Throughout the history of cars.
Not just what we thought was cool, but turned out to be dumb, but just dumb from original.
I want to put more. I want to keep this going. Matter of fact, you guys got some dumbest cars in there. We can throw them in there, and we might try to bring them out. But I want to keep this subject going. I want to get like a bigger list of some stuff. And I'm kind of curious, not just what the internet says, not just what the magazines say. Yeah. I'm curious what you're talking about, or you. I don't really want Chris's opinion, but he's going to give it to me anyways. So, what is the dumbest cars ever made? It could be for many reasons, right? It could be because it's not reliable. It looks stupid. It's just dumb design. There's no market for it. It just didn't make any sense. I don't know. Whatever it is, whatever your definition of dumbest cars,
let us know
in the comments down below. And I want we need to throw we need to throw a post or so out and try to get like a poll or just get it going.
Yeah.
So we'll try to get that out. So you got to make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, because that's where it's going to be.
That's right.
And we want to revisit this in the next show.
Sure.
And kind of go from it. But maybe we should mention a couple. Okay, all right. Got a couple already. I agree to all three of these almost.
I know, everybody has their own.
One, the Pontiac Aztek.
Yeah.
It was just an awful looking car. It really wasn't. Here's the weird thing about it.
But they sold a lot.
It was a dumb looking car. It was a crazy, not very safe car. It wasn't a very reliable car. But you're right. For some stupid reason, they sold a bunch of them.
Right.
And then Pontiac went away. So thank God. That's the only good reason for Pontiac going away is for the Aztek.
Yep. You know what? Yeah. No, I agree.
Kind of a dumb car. Someone mentioned Cybertruck. Well,
you know what?
Already knew that.
Motor Trend has that as their top 10.
I was about to say. That's already going to be a.
Yep.
What do you think of the look? Are you getting used to it? Did you like it from the beginning? Do you hate it? I think it's either people love it or hate it. There really isn't an in between with that.
Yeah,
I don't really care for it.
I think people have different reasons for loving or hating it.
When it comes to an EV truck, I've got a way different favorite than that one. That one's not even on the list. I don't even have a lot.
Oh, really?
I think my top one's a Rivian. I like that one the best.
You like it the best?
Yeah, as far as an EV truck goes. I really don't like any other one.
Okay, well,
the
like
Ford
the
Lightning.
EVs anyway.
The Ford Lightning just looks like a truck.
Yeah.
So whether you get the electric one or you get one with a fucking engine in it, it's the same thing. I mean, it looks the same. So there's no like big deal about it.
Yeah.
Cybertruck, I just don't think I'd ever want to buy.
Well,
it.
what about this 1920s Briggs and Stratton Flyer?
Why not?
I mean, honestly,
I'll take that over a Cybertruck.
I would probably take it myself. So,
the Yugo, okay, the Yugo was an extremely cheap car.
yeah,
I wouldn't know if I'd call it a dumbest. It was not meant to be anything special. It was supposed to be cheap.
it was supposed to be cheap, affordable, and economical.
Economical. It did
That's
that.
all. That's
It
it checked all the boxes they wanted.
It checked
to
the
check.
boxes. It wasn't supposed to be flashy. It actually wasn't a terrible car. The weird thing about it, you guys ever seen one before? The spare tire's on top of the engine because there's so little cargo space in the back.
Oh,
To try to give you some grocery spots, they literally put the little donut spare. You open the hood, it's sitting on top of the engine. I don't understand that. Oh, and this is the one I agree to the most. Chris's Malibu.
No, that's not it at all.
All right, I want to keep this going. We're going to put a thing out. I want you guys to make sure you follow. Whatever you're putting in here, re-put them in on the posts on our Facebook and all that stuff. So we get dumbest cars. Think about it. Where you got to look it up. Maybe some experiences that you've had that you just, man, this car's just been stupid. Put it in there. That's what we want. Yeah. But we want to get on to the star of our show right now, and that's on the retro.
Is it me? Hold on. Oh, the retro thing? All right.
Come on now.
You see the graphics. Normally we try to do a theme of our shows, and this one's more along the Miami Vice, 80s, 90s.
Well, it's retro, and the biggest retro we can think of on a lot of it was what we saw so much in the TVs.
Yeah.
Whether it be a movie, TV show, whatever. I think most of those probably end up being TV shows more than movies. But let's...
did the car make the show, or did the show make the car? I think the Charger was always famous for Dukes of Hazzard.
I don't really want to agree with Chris having good questions, but that was okay. That was okay. I like that one.
Thanks, Corey.
All right. We're done. All right. So, all right, guys, what do you think?
I can tell you up front.
We're gonna go with right now. We're starting with 80s. So we're gonna go to retro.
Okay.
We're starting with 80s.
All right.
Want to do 80s?
Let's do 80s to start and see how we get down the list. But anything else we need to talk about before we hit this list?
I bet you might have something. Go ahead. I'm going to take a drink of water.
I do.
And you may
actually,
or may not.
Just in case you do or do not know, our good friends that host Wayne Stock, all right, they are doing let me switch this over here. They're doing a bandit run. It's a parade route. They're running from basically Burr Oaks in Blue Springs down the back roads, kind of a thing. I can send you this. It runs for 2 days.
What? 2 days?
2 days. 2 days worth of festivities. So you do the parade twice. Okay. So
explain what's going on here. What do we got? What do we got?
So
the Bandit Run parade route here. Okay.
Yeah. And if I go back to the actual description here, and I'm sorry if I can't make it a little bigger for you, but I'll try to go through it. So anyway, it's part of KC Wayne Stock. Obviously, we attend them every year. Their big one's coming up this year on 10/4. Obviously, radio check.
Love it.
We've had Buford and his son on the show before, so
awesome,
hopefully
guys.
they'll join us again.
Right.
They're going to be doing a snowman truck and a fleet of Trans Ams from all over the country. Monday will be a movie night. So what they do is they plan out morning through evening. So Monday night's movie night only. All right. There's no parade. Gates open at 6:00.
Looks like we're going to have some.
So we've been there, right? So they're going to
served. Is this at the Wayne Stock location?
It is.
All right.
Yeah. Everything ends back at 31806 East Truman Road. I have this flyer up on my page, so you guys can go look at a little more detail. And I'll post more of the details as well. And then Tuesday. So what's weird is this is a Monday and a Tuesday, all right? So
that is a little different.
Monday, June 9th.
Yep.
Tuesday, June 10th. Gates open up on the 10th. To get into the place, but for the parade, they're going to be running all day until they go back to the actual location. So the one they're leaving 11:30 at the start point,
and that's going to be Tuesday. They're leaving 11:30 on Tuesday.
That's right.
Okay.
And they're going to go down the back roads. It'll be a long parade. They'll have the roads shut down by the police. Everything will be escorted and everything else. It really is an amazing thing. They normally do this in different parts of the country. First time they're doing it here. So it's going to be a big deal. So I will share the information as well, but that's coming up on a Monday and a Tuesday. So if you want to go out and see the original Smokey and the Bandit on a big screen, they're going to be having it on their property, which is a gorgeous property.
Yep.
And then, of course, they have the big barn with everything inside of it, refreshments, all of that. So good chance to come out there. And then Tuesday night's going to be the concert or cruise and concert. So start the cruise, do that all day. They're going to have bands playing in it as well all day.
Okay.
Kind of unique thing. So I suggest everybody check
I
it
don't
out.
expect anything less from Waynestock.
Yeah, they
Well,
do a
Waynestock
great job.
people, I should say.
Yep. Wayne and Tanya do a great job.
Yeah, they do.
So
that sounds pretty awesome, actually.
fabuloso.
If talk about retro cars.
Big good couples
Now,
night.
granted, the first one that'd be late 70s. Trans Ams.
That's
so
true.
Not 80s,
Yeah,
but the next one was
Yeah,
about there.
the turbo trans.
The Smoking Bandit 2. That was
They had the turbo
like
trans.
the next one, and then they did a third one. I don't know.
Yeah. Then you just went.
And they did the Night Rider Trans Am.
Yep.
Anyways, okay.
All right, back to the 80s.
80s. Where did
80s
it start?
cars.
What did some people start here? Obviously, so. Okay.
I'm just going to put.
Do you
this
want to
up
get
while we're
into the show ones first, or just talk in general about them?
talk in general? Why don't we go through them?
What are some of the cooler retro 80s stuff? Like stuff that just stands out, just something that's awesome. It doesn't even have to be a high performance thing, although a lot of them tend to be. Because that's what really stands out to us the most.
Yeah.
But how about this? Let's start something. No, we'll start with that. Well, you're an Audi guy. We're going to start with your shirt.
Oh, okay. Well,
So what's the biggest Audi thing that came out in the 80s?
well, of course, the Quattro.
The
Did.
Quattro.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
That thing was amazing.
I got to figure a quick way of doing it, but
What's that?
it's just popping up the images.
Maybe being more prepared.
Oh, okay. How about that? Bam.
I mean, that's a possibility.
There you go. The Audi Quattro.
Oh, yeah. So
That's it. Next.
I mean, it's just like it was awesome. I mean, it revolutionized rally racing.
It did.
Off-road rally racing and stuff.
Yep.
Even though at one point it was going against a two-wheel drive car.
Yep. And that's
And it
that's the ones that
it lost a year,
dominated.
but I mean, come on, a 591 horsepower rally car
Yeah.
in the 80s. That's a good amount of horsepower now. It's unreal to see them. Oh my God, digital dash.
Right. Knight Rider.
Holy
dash.
moly. I thought Corvette was the only stupid ones that did that.
Right.
No. Look at that. Look at the all-wheel drive. Got the wheels in the center dash there. In the center.
Oh, yeah.
In the
It
center
tells
console.
you if you're losing traction.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. The Audi
I mean,
Quattro.
it was an interesting thing, but it had a turbo 5
5-liter?
5 cylinders.
5-liter.
Turbocharged.
Or five cylinders. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Turbocharged. So hey, I mean, it was amazing. It ruled in the world rally scene, and the homologation versions of the car were just cool as hell.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say to that except for that. Oh, not to mention they were all manuals.
They were.
How cool is that? You don't see that anymore.
And they're worth a lot of money.
They don't even, Audi don't even make a manual anymore.
You could have bought it really cheap. Now all of a sudden they're worth a fortune.
So yeah, granted they didn't have them for very long. From 83 to 85 is
Yep.
when they were selling the one cars. Now obviously the street going ones did not have 591 horsepower, but what are you gonna do?
What else we got?
What are you gonna do?
I like the Audi. I like that because it set a precedence for the all-wheel drive.
Well, since we're on the German side,
yeah. What do you want to go?
I want to go the introduction to what is one of the most famous BMW cars to buy today is the M cars. So the M3 came out in what 88. So here's the funny thing. So it came out right. So they took like a 3 Series coupe. I think it kind of started. I don't know. It even started as a sedan. I think it started as a coupe, but it came out saying, "Hey, we have an idea to make this cooler, higher performance kind of ordeal."
Yep.
And they did this work to it. And they did all the stuff. And you want to know how much horsepower the early M3s had?
I don't know. What they have?
Hold on.
I got to agree to all these cookies.
Oh, I
like cookies.
I like cookies.
You know, it kind of looks like the Audi.
So it had a 2.3 liter. It's a 4-cylinder, dual overhead cam. Had a throttle each cylinder. The U.S. version, 192 horsepower. 170 torque. Look at that. That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's 192 screaming horsepower.
Even has the M badge on it.
0 to 16, 8.7. No, I don't know what it was, but it probably wasn't that fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you had facts.
No. Now, well, later on, here's the 325. Right. It had a bigger engine with a 2.5 liter inline 6, but it only had 168 horsepower. So that goes to show you how good that 4-cylinder was that they came on the M3. So I mean, it was for its time. We are talking late 80s here, so that's decent power still for a car. But you just think of M3. I mean, what do M3s have? 500 some horsepower now. I mean,
it's crazy.
Over 500. Yeah, it's just like it's ridiculous what they are.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And I'm going to skip down to some more. I say skip down. It's a list I have. I'm not really skipping. I'm going to shut up now.
I have a list.
I'm going to talk about the
American cars.
We're going to go to those. I'm going to talk about the 2 biggest things that came out of Europe.
Oh, of course. I know where you're going.
In the late 80s. And one of them is German.
Yep.
And it's the Porsche 959.
That's right.
I mean, it was just an amazing car. For its feet. It had so much stuff in it, so much new technology to it. It was just an interesting feat. It looked kind of funny for its time. I mean, for a Porsche, I almost think it looks
it kind of did, actually.
It does. But there's a reason for it. It needed the space. It didn't have that much space to put the turbo that it had in it and the cooling.
Is that why they built that big ass on the back?
That's the only reason that's on there, because they couldn't fit it in the car. So they had to build onto the car, so it's all enclosed. That was pretty much it. But that right there, I mean, that was ridiculous. I mean, that's Porsche going into, remember that Group B racing? Let's talk about the Audi Quattro thing in rally. That was another thing that they're going into that
Did
car.
They really put that in?
They were developing that's just it. Before they finished developing the car, the Group B was gone.
Oh, that's right.
So then they just made a road-going car.
Because Group B was crazy fuckers.
And that was like in the mid-400s
yeah.
Of a car. And that's like, once again, fast for today.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it. You know what it looks like, though, too, is the Jaguar 2000.
What? What are you talking
The
about?
back end of it.
Oh.
It has kind of that Jaguar look to it.
What are you talking about? The XJ220s?
Yeah. What'd I say?
You said 2000.
Oh, I thought it was the XJ2000.
No, 220.
Okay.
We'll get into that one. That's a 90s car. Get out of here.
Okay, all right.
Get
we're
out
not
of
there
here.
yet. All right, well, whatever.
But that was amazing feat of engineering. That was like the feat for engineering.
Was it manual?
It was a manual. Here's the thing.
Had the stupidest steering wheel.
It did. And you know what? A lot of Porsches in the 80s had the stupidest steering wheel. And that's basically just the same one that you would find in a 911.
Yep.
But look at it. In the side, it's just a 911, only it had a shit ton more horsepower than your regular 911. Even your 911 turbo, for that matter. But yeah, that was pretty awesome. But guess what? Who battled that one? Guess who came out and did that one? Ferrari. Won? Ferrari came out with the F40, remember? In my understanding, under the same reason that they were going to possibly get into rally racing for their Group B stuff. But
obviously, everybody knows what the F40. I mean, everybody had it on their wall.
There were so many. You know what? In the 80s, you had that car.
Yep, and
a Porsche 959 or a Lamborghini Countach, which we'll talk about next.
Farrah Fawcett or Bo Derek.
Someone half naked, or mostly,
that's right.
more than half naked on the car.
Yeah, gorgeous.
But I mean, come on. Now the thing is, there's so many times that car, the F40 is being compared to the Porsche 959. But in reality, if you really compare the two together, they are nothing alike. They are two completely different. I mean, that F40 is a stripped down, carbon fiber tubbed.
Yep.
like no real interior to it. Twin turbo V8. It's got more horsepower. It's lighter. Look at it.
I don't even know what that is.
There's really nothing to it. That is a race car for the. I mean, look at the door panel.
Yeah, it's hollow. It's just sheet
now
metal.
you look inside the 959. It's got air conditioning.
It's true.
It's got heating. It's got comfortable seats. It's got
Germans know how to make
radio.
interiors.
That's
got
all
always
that.
been that case.
That wasn't the purpose for the F40 though. It is a pretty car though.
No, it was
when it comes to Ferrari, it still looks good today.
It was built to be strictly a race car that was street legal. They stripped it down.
So in my essence, it was the first one, technically speaking, that hit the 200-mile-an-hour barrier. I think it did top speed at 201. The 959 was able to do it, but apparently the 959 when it first came out was 199.
Oh yeah,
as if you can really tell much of a difference between those 2 mile an hour. But that's okay. It is true that that it is. Now, most people I know that are Ferrari F40 fans are not 959 fans. 959 fans are not F40 fans. No. But that's a Ferrari.
Nobody had a 959 poster hanging on their wall. I'm not
sure why Ferrari and Porsche have such a thing, kind of like Ford and Chevy.
I don't know.
Ford and Chevy I can understand because it's in the same country and they're the most competitive things. I mean, look at NASCAR and things like that, right?
Right.
But I don't understand Porsche and Ferrari why they go back and forth, even though they are.
I think
they are not the same kind of cars. They're just way different. It goes
back to World War II. They just don't like each other.
Weren't they kind of on the same side though?
Well, at the start.
At the start, okay.
At the start, but one of them decided this isn't going to work.
And then Enzo Ferrari said, "You know what? I'm not liking you Germans. That's not.
That's right.
You do not the spicy.
It's not for us. Yeah."
I spit on you. I don't know what the fuck accent that was.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well, also for Porsche in the 80s, the 944 came out. Not more importantly than that, the 944 Turbo.
Yep.
That was the affordable Porsche for the people who couldn't afford it.
I did like the 944.
I am a big fan. Front engine.
It had a good look to it.
Yeah.
There wasn't no real performance to it, but it had a good look.
You know what? For what it was pretty. It was high performance enough that a lot of people in those lower, because obviously it wasn't a 911 class, it was a lower down class.
Sure,
but in its class, it still dominated in its class. Where remember the RX-7?
Yeah,
it modeled its car and chased after the 944 in the 80s, and then even to do better than that, the RX-7 even did. One step further, they tried to do what the 944 did, and they added a turbo. So the RX-7 at one point did have a turbo in the 80s as well.
That's right.
Just to try to compete with that.
Yeah.
So I like it. I would still own one today if I could afford it. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, they weren't bad. Car. They weren't bad.
Yeah, I would just be like a little daily car for me. I think it's pretty cool. They had like a really big 4-cylinder in them. That was kind of cool. They're typically like a 2.5, all the way up to I think a 2.7 or 8. Or no, I'm sorry. Well, that's in the 90s. In the 90s, they actually entered. They put a 3-liter 4-cylinder in it.
Yeah, 86. They did come out with a turbo version as well.
That's right.
Pretty cool.
Awesome stuff.
And of course, before we move into the Americas, the original Lamborghini Countach.
The Countach, man, that was. I mean, in big Lamborghini fans, they're going to think of the Mira being the first supercar, blah blah blah. But I didn't even know about the Mira before the Countach.
Right.
That was the first car that really put Lamborghini, I feel like, in the mainstream spotlight that's in every car lover's dream.
Yeah.
That was the car.
Yeah.
The Countach.
That was another one you had on your wall.
That was it. I think that's
Cannonball Run made that thing.
That was the #1 poster car.
Yep. Cannonball Run.
I don't know what you guys feel about it, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to that one.
Yeah.
Vampire Bear said he drove one.
You know, a good friend of ours has one.
Yeah.
The original white one, too. So.
It's pretty cool.
It is.
It's pretty awesome. I mean, V12. I mean, they've always been V12s.
Yeah.
Even from the Mira on up, they've had their V12s.
I kind of heard it was.
I was actually
very much of a death trap, though. Very uncomfortable ride. I don't want to say death trap. But
not hard to get in and out. Or, I mean, I'm saying not easy to get in and out.
Right.
The visibility was absolutely terrible.
Terrible.
The ride wasn't comfortable.
No.
A lot of the steering, the shifting, I mean, it was manual, gated.
Yeah.
It was just like
there's no powers.
You're manhandling the damn thing.
That's right.
But from my understanding, though, that V12, it was reliable. It Jay Leno says it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it
guess
ran.
he's right.
I mean, you could beat the crap out of it. You can run it. The problem is you're gonna relocate your spine and
do all the stuff.
do all that kind of stuff. The turn radius on them were absolutely horrendous.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
And this is what's crazy. When I saw one in person for the first time, and you see how wide that back tire is, it's just as wide as the big ass wide tires you see nowadays.
Yeah.
On a 15-inch rim.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you see one of those rims off, like the tire off, and you just see the rim, it's the funniest looking rim I've ever seen in my life. It's wider than it is taller, and that's not usually a thing.
That's right.
But to go along with that, another big one that came out, the Ferrari Testarossa, and now we're getting into some like TV movie car stuff.
Well, what that comes off of our whole
Vampire Bear says he drove one of those too. You lucky bugger.
Yeah, I know.
But that was that car was made for. That was a Ferrari American car through and through.
It's a Miami Beach car.
I mean, they marketed that car for America.
Yep.
And the reason why they did, because all about, big engines and more cylinders and blah, blah, blah. That's the only one that's mid-engine, but with a V12.
Oh, really?
Let me rephrase that. Typically, their mid-engine cars are all V8s.
Well, there's the motor.
Because the 12s don't fit.
1, 2, 3.
You know what I'm saying?
5, 6. Yep.
And
V12.
in their design, they don't fit. And that was a naturally aspirated one, I believe. I think it was only like in the 300, like in the mid 300s of horsepower.
Yeah.
It's like a 4.9 liter or something like that.
It was a Miami
But I mean, typically your Ferrari V12s were front engine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then,
I didn't know they made a convertible.
And then Testarossa did the unthinkable. They really had to move some shit out of the way, but there it is. Now you're getting some. I don't know what you're doing there.
Well, I guess these are custom ones. I guess.
But
went custom.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that car, you knew it because of Miami Vice.
That was the second car in Miami Vice. Started off with a Ferrari, California. That was the show's first car, and then they came out with the.
Are we not showing anybody anything now?
No, not right now.
Why not?
I wanted it black.
Oh, okay. We blacked you guys out.
Yeah, there you go.
So had a California, you said?
It had a Ferrari California. That was or a Spider. Maybe a California Spider, actually. I think that was the first one they came out with during the first series.
I think isn't the idea of a California is what they're called that because they're all convertibles?
I think so.
So I think
it was a Spider then.
Which also means convertible, doesn't it?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know where you're going with this, but
there you go. 385 horsepower in that V12. Went up to 422, but not until the 90s. So we're not getting. No, I'm just kidding. But it did get over 400. Well, that's just good. I mean, that's still a good amount of horsepower.
A Daytona Spider. That was the first, and then a Ferrari Testarossa.
Okay, so Daytona are probably convertible. I'm guessing that's what the Spider.
It is. Yep.
Okay. Awesome McSawsome, and.
Should we get into the American cars?
We should.
I should, because that's what we grew up with. At least I grew up with.
I'm going to throw out the DeLorean out there before we dive into that so much because
you could throw it all the way out there.
If it wasn't for a certain movie franchise, then
that's right.
Not many people would probably know that much about that
So
car.
This goes back to my original statement. Did the car make the movie or the show, or did the show and movie make the car? Definitely.
That was one of those weird cars because they made it look like something that they really wanted it to be. And it really wasn't that good of a car.
It wasn't.
It wasn't very fast. It had a crappy engine in it. Very little, like 130 horsepower.
Yeah, very poor design for sure.
But the gull-wing doors, the stainless, and the fact that apparently once you get up to 88 miles per hour and have a flux capacitor in the some bitch, then you can go back in time or something.
Flux or capacitor wasn't standard. It was an option.
It was an option. Probably expensive one at that, but you did need some plutonium unless you went in the future. Plutonium. Unless you went in the future and got yourself a Mr. Fusion.
I thought they were always a cool idea. I think he had the right idea around the car.
It was supposed to be a sports car.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really call it a sports car, to be honest. Even though the suspension supposedly, tuned by
I don't even know
Lotus.
What is that? What it was? Built on a Lotus frame?
No.
suspension?
Lotus just worked on the suspension.
Oh, okay.
They brought them in to work on it. But the thing is they didn't really give them a lot of power, and they didn't really need to do much to the suspension in comparison to some other cars. But I mean, that's what it was, man. You want to get the American cars? I'll let you start.
I think so.
I'll let you start. So. You go.
All right. Obviously.
Or how about this?
Okay. Well, I knew you'd cut me off, so go ahead.
Has you guys got anything else out there on the European side? How about that? Because that's mostly what we've been talking about there is the European side. On some cool retro 80s cars that you think would be awesome. I'll tell you, we'll come back to them if we have to. But all right, American.
All right.
American Ruck over here with the Audi German shirt on.
Well, yeah, you know.
Who's counting?
Trying to get to the stupid photos, but
which one you want to do first?
Let's do this one.
You're going to do your car, aren't you?
Nope.
Oh, there it is. The Grand National.
Yeah. Two versions of it.
Some people pronounce it National.
The GN.
Yeah, the Grand National, and then there's the GNX, right?
The GNX is the one you wanted.
GNX was the...
I think the only difference was it had a bigger turbo in the GNX.
Okay.
I think that's the only thing. Call it out if you agree. I think
if it wasn't bigger, then it was at least boosted higher.
Yeah, they were definitely both 3.8 motors. That was a given. And then the Buick Regal had a turbo version, which was the same as the one that was in the Grand National. It was just branded because they came out with the whole black silhouette kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is when the Grand National came out, they offered any color under the sun as long as you wanted black.
Well, apparently not. It's black and
white. As long as you get any color you want, as long as it was black.
There you go. And it had a Buick turbo.
Well, I mean, whatever. You know what? That just goes to show you Buick has done some amazing things in the past. I'm not going to get into everything right now, but maybe we'll do some shows around certain manufacturers or something like that. But I mean, I don't know if you guys realize this, but you know the oldest manufacturer that's still around in America right now? It's Buick. That name has been around longer than any other American car. Over Ford. Actually, Ford's not even number 2. Ford's number 3. If I'm not mistaken. Cadillac is number 2. And then I think maybe Ford, unless there's another one in there.
Oh, this turbo came out with a rear defog.
What?
Yeah. Look at the picture.
Oh.
3.8 defog.
Oh, dang.
Guess that gets rid of emissions? Look at that. I mean, you remember these back in the day? You remember it was great to have, if you got a car from factory that had a 5 or 6 band equalizer.
Oh, man. That was killer.
You thought you just had the shit.
Especially if you have like a tape deck or an 8-track
player. You know it has a cassette somewhere.
Yeah. If it was older, it'd be an 8-track.
Yeah, probably.
Look at that car, though. I mean, I'll be honest. It just looks slick.
It does. Even today, if you see them, they look great, especially with the black rims.
But, you know, they did come out, and they were America's fastest car.
Yep.
They were faster than anything Ford put out.
Street legal.
Faster than your Corvettes, faster than all of them, because they went a route because of our stupid emission stuff that we went through and suffered through, you know, the 70s and 80s.
Dumb stuff.
They had an idea. They said, well, okay, fine. We won't use a big engine. We'll use a V6 that's less restricted on the emissions. Throw a turbo on it. But turbos weren't new.
No.
But they weren't.
No,
they
everybody
weren't
was throwing turbos and things back then.
They weren't as highly used as they are now. Now they're like everything. But, you know, back then
Even
they were rolling and stuff.
They did. Everybody put turbos on. I mean, Chrysler did. Honda did. Buick did. Everybody was throwing turbos on stuff.
No, they did. You know, Porsche had their turbos, and so on and so forth. And obviously, you know, Ferrari, some of these other ones that we just talked about.
276 horsepower out of that motor.
Yeah, when it first came out. Yeah. Well, they say it was closer to 300 a lot of times. But I mean, the torque though. It had like 360, 80, whatever it was. Torque.
Yeah.
I mean, out of that thing was
quick.
Was nuts. But check this out. For the 80s, for something that's sub 300, it was 4.7 seconds 0 to 60 is what Car and Driver did back in the day in the 80s.
That's crazy.
That's pretty quick today.
And that's a heavy car. I mean that's not a light car.
I know there's hypercars and stuff are doing 2-point whatevers and a lot of 3-point whatevers, but anything in the 4s, if you don't know, that's
fast.
That's still pretty. And any like regular street, and you go to step on it and you're less than 5 seconds to 60, that's pretty quick.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick. And that car did it in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Because, I mean, even the IROC Z, which we'll talk about, 5.7 350 didn't even do it that quick.
No, and
it was
only,
like
that
a
was
6-7 second
That was
car.
only like 220 horsepower because of those emissions. It
That's
bogged
right.
it down.
Yep.
It had torque, but there was no power to back it up.
The original,
this had both.
Yeah, the original GT 5.0 wasn't that fast.
Nope. Which those there you go. We can go right into those if you want.
Well, let's get to it.
The biggest Camaro out there, the one that was like the cool one that stood out, that IROC Z, man.
Yep.
That was a pretty cool international race of champions.
When did it really kick in? Was it because I know the 79? Yeah, the 70 was it the 79?
What are you talking about?
Not IROC, but
You talking about Ford now on the Fox body?
the 79 Z28.
Oh,
That was a 350, I thought.
well, I know they did a lot of 5.0s, a lot of 5-liter in the Camaros even then, but they really just they weren't that much less horsepower actually, but they just weren't as good of an engine. Unless you got that there was one that came out and I don't know anything that much about it. Maybe you guys know a little bit more about it, but it was like the Crossfire. It was like a 5-liter.
Yeah, that was the
Crossfire
shittiest.
engine.
That was the shittiest thing.
It was like
yeah.
I don't think
that's it.
I don't think it held up well, but it was fast if it worked, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But still, you want a 350, right? I mean, that's the bulletproof engine of GM, isn't it?
Well, and that's
small
it,
block?
right? Because that was the 79. This is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
This is
they had that
before
body style still, right?
They didn't put a lot of emissions into the car at this point.
Oh, it did though. It still did. No, it did. They
Did
started
it?
they started the emissions in like 72 or 73, and they got worse. So they were still pretty bad. They probably. I feel like you're right. I feel like they were a little bit worse in the lower to mid 80s. Because we didn't work our way out of that until like 92.
No, and
I think that's when the LT1 came out in the Corvette.
I don't think the Crossfire injection to Will's point lasted very long because it just
must
didn't.
not have.
It just didn't work.
It was like an idea, but wasn't a reliable idea. Is that what?
It
Is that
wasn't.
right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think they only had it for a couple years for sure. Super B-Ring.
Yeah. See, the Crossfire injection. That was well, at least I was right about the name. So
Yeah.
thanks, Will.
I remember my gym teacher. He bought one brand new, and he brought it there. And then 2 years later, it was just sitting because it was crap. So
Okay. Fox body.
like,
Wait,
we
wait. Are you done with the?
Is it
are you
Fox
done,
body?
You done with the Camaro?
I was just
Mustang?
throwing Camaro out there, but
Yeah, the Mustang, the 5.0 Mustang. That was the infamous Fox body Mustang.
yeah,
It lived out through the entire 80s.
yeah,
Because it technically started in the 70s.
but
and
still
then ended
limited.
in the 90s.
Still limited. I mean, the problem with the 80s cars, how they got around a lot of the emission stuff is they went from big motors to small motors, but they put turbos on them all.
Well, they did that with just the one, the SVO. And that had the turbo 4-cylinder in it.
The Fox
a
body,
2.3.
yeah, but everybody was doing. Every company was doing it.
Turbo.
Yeah,
And they didn't want to admit it, but it was faster than the 5.0 GT.
yeah, and it was
But
sharp.
the 5.0 GT was still their big
I
seller.
like that car.
It was a
actually.
huge drag car because of the way it was. From my understanding, what I was understanding, the Fox body Mustang ended up becoming such a more popular drag car than most American cars at the time because of the rear end suspension. It would just hook up better.
Yeah.
The 4-link suspension in or whatever it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but it's something like that.
79,
However,
that came out. Well, no.
the
that was
Mustang came
later.
out in 79.
Yeah. But
I
there
think.
was.
Mr. Stephen Miller is on
Yeah,
here.
he's the Fox body guy.
Yeah, Fox by 79 to 04. Or to, what? You mean 94?
Okay, this is the one I'm thinking of. This is the one I remember. If I can get it pulled up here.
The GT was the popular one. I kind of like the coupe a little bit better.
No.
Same engine, same power. It just didn't have the
Yeah.
ground effects on it, and it had a trunk instead of a hatchback.
And sorry for the small images, guy. We're just searching where we go, but that's the one I remember.
There's the SVO. That's the 4-cylinder one.
Yep.
That's a 2.3 turbo. And
I love the body.
I've been to a
style
lot
on
of
it
these
back then.
Mustang shows, and there's not very many of them that show up.
Yeah.
But when they do, it really kind of stands out.
And it was this body style.
Between
Obviously, that's
between
custom,
that
but-
car and the Cosworth Escort were the two coolest 80s Ford cars, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that what that Cosworth. I mean, it was a Cosworth engine, but it was still in an Escort. It was a rally car. They put a homologation on it. Even the homologated.
Oh, yeah.
The
I know
homologated
which
version
one.
was
Yeah.
also super cool.
I remember
stuff.
what you're talking about. Yep.
I don't remember the power it had in it, but I know it was another turbo forced in, I believe, something like that.
We can go through them. I mean, we don't have to show pictures for all of them, but obviously,
that's cool.
Getting into the Chrysler line, we talked about it. The Dodge Omni Turbo.
Oh.
The Dodge Shelby Charger.
You need to show them that picture. You got to find something like that.
All right.
Okay. On top of that, you got to think you had the Mitsubishi. And there were some good Japanese. We talked about the RX-7 turbo coming in and stuff. There were Supras, the 280ZXs, and all that kind of stuff that were really cool for, I think, their time. And then you had
the Omnis.
The Omni, but you had the Dodge Omni Shelby.
Yeah.
And it was also badged. Those aren't the Shelby ones, I don't think.
No, these are the basics.
You got to put Shelby in there. You got to put the Omni Shelby. They were badged the GLH.
Yeah.
And it stood for goes like hell.
Yep. And they did, because I had one.
That was the coolest thing.
I didn't have. I had an Omni, but I didn't have the Shelby Omni. Then I bought a Shelby Charger, same motor, in the GLH, 2.2 liter turbo. I would outrun 5.0s all day long on that thing. Awesome. I'd smoke them because they were limited. Now, don't get me wrong; they're limited a lot. But I think what everybody went to back in this time was put a smaller motor to pass emissions, but then put a turbo on it to give you the performance.
Well, yeah, because if the V8s weren't so bogged down with emissions, they would have created way more power.
That's right.
But those emissions controls weren't so heavily done on the smaller engines.
No.
So then you can put the turbo on there and it easily be more horsepower than what the bogged down V8s were doing.
They were saying because we're putting a turbo on it, it's going to save gas, which passes the emissions. But really why they put the turbos on was to give it more power. So they were playing both sides of it.
That is right, Vampire Bear. They also made one that you can pick up from Shelby themselves. Now, that's from my understanding. But he put in there was the GLHS.
Yes.
That stood for goes like hell, some more.
Special. Some more. Some more.
Some more. That was a Carroll Shelby special on that one. And that's what's cool about that is that
this is the one I had.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I mean they were gorgeous cars.
That is still good looking.
It is. I
think that's aged with some good classic look to it.
Yeah. I mean, the simple 2.2 liter,
and that's some pretty low. That's some pretty low profile tires for its time.
They were 50s on there.
That's pretty low for its time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because I thought, damn, these are expensive tires. There
it is. And it has the S on it, so that's the GLHS.
Yep. Well, so the difference between the GLH and the original Shelby Charger was they put the intercooler on it.
Okay.
The originals didn't have the intercooler.
You didn't get the heat soaked and all that stuff. It stayed cooler, ran faster. Oh, look at that. There was white in there.
It's actually silver.
Oh, okay. It looks white in the picture, though.
Yeah, it's like a satin silver.
But is that how your seats look, like that?
Yep, just like that.
Those look comfortable as hell.
It had nice bolster and everything
like hell? Comfortable like hell.
It was actually pretty nice.
The manual, the steering wheel, not a whole lot better than the Porsche, but a little bit.
Yep.
80's steering wheels were not pretty.
No, they weren't. Well, no airbags, so they didn't build anything around it.
No, they didn't. Well, you think that they could do more with it.
But anyway, there it is.
That's awesome.
I mean, 2.2 liter.
You don't see very many of those at car shows either. You really don't.
No. There was one lady that used to bring hers out, and she had it original. And obviously it ages not so well with years, but it looked nice.
So that had 175 horsepower.
Yeah.
When that came out.
06 was, I think, 6.
Dude, my Nissan Spec V in 2003 had 175 horsepower. Now, granted, it was naturally aspirated, but that was also way newer.
Yep.
It was a 2.5 liter, but it was still pretty impressive for what it was, I thought.
Yeah.
But this is, almost 20 years before that car?
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. I mean, seriously. I bet it didn't weigh much either.
Is very.
I bet you riding that thing. You're smoking Golf GTIs all day long, aren't you?
Well, probably.
Which
that's
I know we
why
didn't bring
I could
that
outrun the 5.0 Mustangs because I was so light. But
what a cool car!
Yeah, it was nice. The last cars for America, I think, were going to be. Oh, let me get out of here.
Well, kind of a crossover between America, but you had the Mitsubishi Starion.
Yeah.
Which also
I love that
which
car.
also was the Conquest, the Chrysler Conquest.
Yep.
And that was a neat car in itself too. That just I don't know, it just looked good, to be honest with you.
You know what? Always. Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, they did the Conquest. Which the Conquest, what I saw the most, I didn't see the Mitsubishi Starion as much, but at least here in the Midwest growing up. But they basically still kind of look the same. But I mean, you're talking a very large 4-banger turbo. I mean, that was a
I'm sorry, that's still a gorgeous looking car.
You know what? You know another reason of this styling with this car was? You know what they were after? They were after the 944 turbo.
Yep.
That's exactly what this was for.
Yep.
But a 2.6 liter turbo.
Yep.
So this
is the Starion version.
I think the power was like a million or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. But they were never great performance, but they looked like they'd go a million miles an hour.
They weren't slow though, and I don't know what the handling was
really
like on them. Look at that; they got the flared fucking fenders.
You know,
and shit.
and again, they had the big back tire, which added its beefiness, and then they had the fender flares that all came out.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's tight.
I always wanted one of those cars. I still want one of those cars, to be honest.
So you need to get one. I need to get a 944 turbo, and then we can do a cool little thing. Wait, we need money. So guys, sponsorship is open.
There you go.
And if you want to donate a car, that runs.
Yeah, yeah. Mine don't run so much, but maybe I'll trade. You think I could trade mine in as is?
You know what they did with the 944?
Probably not.
The 944 4-cylinder that's in there. You know what it basically was? It was the 928's V8 cut in half.
Yeah.
You know how you've seen cars where they'll take, hey, this is a V12. They took these two straight sixes and put them together, or they took these two 4-cylinders and they put them together to make
right.
This was the one time they already had the V8 to make the 4-cylinder. They made a 4-cylinder out of a V8 instead of the other way around. Isn't that crazy? I don't know if you knew that or not, but now you do.
There you go.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I don't know how wicked fast. I mean, I guess back in the day they were probably pretty fast. I don't know what there's the Conquest. I mean, Vampire's calling it like wicked fast, but I don't remember them. It
might have been. I mean, in a straight line. I don't know how well they handled. They look like they handled well. They look like they do everything well, but I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure what the power is right now. I mean, I know we can Google it real quick. Your
Datsun Z.
What's the?
He says it's basically a Datsun Z with more power and handling. Well,
all right. Let's do this. Okay. All right. Hold on. Mitsubishi Starion specs. Let's see if it'll give me some horsepower here. It went from 145 initially to 176. What this one says.
Oh yeah, and then
100. What'd you say? 180.
A number that grew to 188.
A 7-second 0 to 60.
Yeah, the last production year, 1988.
Which for a 4-cylinder car, that's actually not that bad. I mean, that's around the ballpark where I think my Nissan was at. So that's not, your Shelby did that kind of power.
It was lighter
with a 4-cylinder.
Sure. It was lighter for sure.
Well, with a smaller 4-cylinder, I should say.
Yeah.
That's good. That's crazy.
Yeah. I always liked them.
Yeah. I want to throw a little hands out. Hey, since we do, like an overland segment of Craving Cars, there's some good overlanding ones that kind of came out. The Mercedes G-Class, which when I say that, the G-Wagon. You guys know the G-Wagon?
Yeah.
Which is kind of very similar looking the way it is even in the 80s nowadays.
I didn't say, did they even change it?
Sure. Yeah. And they even have AMG versions of that nowadays and all that stuff. So that is like a pretty mega epic kind of overlanding vehicle for Mercedes. And it wasn't just big, giant V8 ones. They had 4-cylinder ones, 6-cylinders.
Yeah.
There you go. Diesel 4-cylinder. Yep. That was probably the most popular one for overlanding, to be honest. I mean, that's right there. That's an African freaking safari vehicle.
Car.
Yeah. So that I always thought and always liked those. The Jeep Cherokee. Even though I know they have a Jeep Cherokee nowadays, but they don't have
not that
Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah.
That was a mega, as far as you want to go like a closed back SUV style type of 4x4. I don't know one that was more popular. Do you?
I don't. And you know what? I had a couple of them.
I still think they even look good. I like that square look.
Yeah, the square body looks great. I've had two of these, 91 and a 91 and a 2001.
So that was the last year, 2001.
Yeah, last one.
Wow.
I wish I still had it. But with the 4.0, that's how good that motor was.
Oh man,
that was a beast motor.
That's what I got in my Wranglers.
Yep.
But that one's good. And something I really want to throw out. Talk about retro. The one that you haven't heard of in forever. Some of these younger viewers probably have never even heard of them.
What's that?
The AMC Eagle.
Yes.
We got to show people that.
All right,
4x4.
I'm going to see if I can find the one my grandmother had.
A 4x4
first car I drove.
Car. Not a truck, not an SUV, a wagon. Oh, actually, they eventually made sedans and coupes too.
Both.
But the wagon, that's the big one.
Let's see if I can find the one my grandmother had. I think this is it. Yeah, I believe
Vampire
so. Yeah, this is the one my grandmother had.
Vampire said he had a friend that had a 400 wheel horsepower Conquest.
That was it.
That's awesome. Look at that. You could get wood paneling on those cars?
Yep, 1982. Yeah, they do have them.
It lifted on purpose.
Yeah.
Actual proper 4x4 system.
Yeah, right here.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
Styling.
Probably not the best looking front end of one that came out. But you know
that's
what?
True.
It doesn't matter.
That's right.
Doesn't matter. That is cool. I mean, so I don't know if you guys ever sold the Eagles. The Eagles were sold in a lot of Jeep dealerships because there was always a lot of Jeep Eagle places.
Yeah.
But you had like the Eagle Talon, which was not a 4x4. Well, actually, it wasn't all-wheel drive, but that right there.
I don't remember my grandmother's being that ugly.
So apparently, our country didn't catch on with the 4x4 cars. They went to just straight SUVs. But you know that wagon's probably more practical.
Oh, you know what? Maybe my grandmother did have a coupe.
Was it a coupe or sedan?
I think it was the coupe, the two-door.
They did. Yeah, that was I think one of the later ones. I think they came out with.
Hey, I don't want you to get all my cookies.
Oh, are they chocolate chip?
I think that's the one she had. Anyway,
what a not the best looking coupe, but you know what?
Back then
they were cool because they were 4x4 cars.
Back then I thought it was cool.
I thought that was the neatest thing ever. Seeing those things on the road.
Yeah.
And then I became a big fan of the Talon, which that goes into the next segment because we're going to get into the 90s, and that's where it's going to get into that kind of stuff and see what awesome stuff. You're talking like world's fastest cars multiple times. Yeah. One comes out. Then one comes out that beats it, and then another one comes out and beats it. It doesn't get more cooler than that. Yeah. And it was amazing what the kind of feat that these cars did with the amount of horsepower they had. Like the cars that we have with those horsepower now don't even go as fast as those did then. I know it's a gearing thing probably, or maybe it's a weight thing. I don't know. Now we have cars nowadays that are just, they're 4-digit horsepowers. Yeah. That's just like stupid fast. These aren't necessarily as stupid fast, but from the lines of Jaguar and Bugatti and McLaren, they made some fast cars in the 90s, and not to mention some other cool ones. And I think we should get to that next time.
Week. Yeah, for sure.
So I say, guys, hey, look for the post. Hey, get some ideas on some 90s retro cars. Thank you for the feedback we've got so far on the 80s stuff. I know we could be talking about 80s for another.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. There's a lot of other cool cars and stuff. But
this is part one of two parts.
Yeah. Part one of two. I got it. It's okay.
There you go.
But still keep in mind, we want to continue the conversation of the dumbest cars.
Yep. Keep that going.
So we'll try to get some posts going here, and you need to just give us what your opinion is. And share it. Ask everybody.
That's right.
Have them put their answers in for the world's dumbest cars. And I don't mean nowadays. You're talking life of automobiles.
Cheap Ohio's own. I don't know what that is.
What?
Cheap Ohio's own.
What's that? What's that, Vampire? He misses his Impreza. You know what? We're going to get into that in the 90s.
Yeah, the Impreza RS.
That's in the 90s.
Nice. Yeah, for sure.
We will definitely be talking about that. And that's actually, your Eagle cars is what really woke that up.
The Chrysler Maserati.
Yeah, you never heard that one?
Well, yeah, but it wasn't branded as Chrysler. It was a Maserati. Chrysler owned it.
No.
And they used a lot of parts in it.
It's not the manufacturer Maserati. It's different. It's not like the Maserati cars you see nowadays. It's a different Maserati.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Is that the 90s?
That is, I think that is 80s.
Yeah.
Type it. Check it out. What do you got?
We'll look it up. Anyway, appreciate everybody joining. Obviously,
Absolutely.
everybody that joins. Wheels, Vampire, obviously. Steven, always a great guy. We'll see you on Saturday with Riggs and Roast for sure. Make sure you come out and join us. And, obviously our good friend at 816-913 Car Shows. Go check them out for sure.
He's our BFF.
He is. Sean's a great guy.
He'll always be our BFF.
Yeah. Everybody
So
is.
thanks again to Flying Strike Strip. We are Warriors, Uncorked Wine and Spirits, Richline Motorsports, Timely Delivery Service, and Auto Beauty Centers for letting us do our thing here. Thank you. So appreciate it. I think it's time for us to sign out. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Once again, Instagram, Facebook, subscribe to this channel. I'm Corey Pratt.
I'm Chris Ruck.